Good evening, everybody. Welcome to PatFacts. Patrick here, Pat on your back, personal fitness. Hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. Hope everyone had a great opportunity to spend some time in your community. Whatever that community is for you, it's a little different for everybody. But community is so important, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight on PatFacts is community. What community sort of means to you, some ways that we're a strong community here, and ways to, hey Bonnie, ways to kind of build our communities outside of this one by using this community as an example. So that'll be our topic for this evening. Community is what we're going to be talking about. So as we're going through here, as always, as some of you are already doing, love to hear from you. Feel free to share what your communities are like, what your communities are doing, going through, and think of community in a variety of different ways. So it's not just the place you live, although that's a big part of it. Again, this is a community. It's an online community. Think of different communities you're part of. I know Andrea, who's here, her and I met through the Barrie Fitness community. We both work for the city of Barrie. Bonnie and I met through the Wise Men online community that we're both a part of. It's my other show, Thursday nights at 9. Throw it a shameless plug there. If you find at 4 Wise Ones on Facebook, we go live at 9 Eastern. We talk about some different topics, have a bit of fun with each other as well, and bring out some of the current topics that are going on in the world and just kind of chat about them and give us some perspective and some light to them as well. So there's that community. So this community has grown from those two communities, and now we're giving back to other communities from this community. So again, all of our communities are typically interrelated. They're not just individual and single, kind of one thing and then to the next one. There's not usually a big wall between the communities. There's a lot of overlap that come with them. So we're going to talk about that this evening as well. So again, let's start with your actual communities. I kind of know where some of you are, but let's post in the comments if you're on live or if you're joining us on the recording. I've got Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Let us know your communities that you're tuning in from. I'm here in Barrie, Ontario. Grew up in Shelburne, Nova Scotia. Moved to Ontario, so I've lived in a few different communities, from moving to university and living at a couple of different places before settling in Barrie. Here we kind of stand. So let's hear from you. Awesome, Andrea. Great example. We're going to touch on that very soon. That's awesome, though. Glad you're able to help out with that. We'll pop that up soon. So again, we hear from your communities where you're tuning in from. And again, on the recording, we love to hear from you as well, because that's how we know who's checking us out, who's watching. And again, we can kind of help the community grow a little bit and make sure that everyone is looked after. So what I'm going to talk about tonight, again, is right, Bonnie. Bonnie says her community is Facebook. That's another community that Facebook reach. I know you're saying you're watching on Facebook. To go along with what I said I was broadcasting to, but really Facebook is a community. It's an online community. It's a social network where we can connect with people, reach out to them. Some people we haven't seen maybe in a long time, we can keep up with, see how they're doing. So it is, again, another example of that virtual community. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the platforms are kind of their own community. And again, there's some crossover. Some people who tune into the show tune in on Twitch, and I met them on Twitch through some of the DJ communities that I've been taking part in and observing during the pandemic. And those communities have grown and really have a huge reach as well. So again, really think of community, not just in terms of where you live, but just groups you're involved with. Even teams, you can think of team as another form of community. So a work team, there's maybe a work community or a home community. Maybe there's a neighborhood community. Maybe there's a group you're a part of. A collective, that's a community as well. So all these different communities that we have. So we've got Bonnie here is in the Montreal area, and we got Andrea, who is in Barrie, but was born and raised in Toronto. So big city girls here watching tonight. So thank you for both for sharing that with us. So thinking of communities, kind of typically a group of of like-minded individuals. That's a community. Usually there's something that kind of brings them together. Your living community, the thing that brings you together is everyone lives in the same area. Everyone's in Barrie or Montreal or Halifax or Shelburne or Alberta, wherever the case is. And you can really grow that kind of bubble from your community to your maybe the side of your city. If you're in the north end, the south end, the west side, whatever it is, you could really your neighborhood into the city, into the province, into the country. There's different ways to look at that community base as well. So typically there's a like-minded individuals, whether it's again where you live, maybe it's common interest, that's why you're part of a group, whether it's maybe a book club or a cooking group or maybe an outdoor trail walking club, maybe a fitness club. You're looking at improving your health and getting better, so you join that healthy fitness community, whether it's virtual or again in a gym in the more traditional sense. So think of the community that way, is the that group of like-minded individuals who are either share a commonality or maybe they're working towards a common goal or have a common interest that they want to share with each other. And that's what the community, what we're going to talk about tonight as far as communities. Thank you, Bonnie. Bonnie mentions that PatFacts is a wonderful community. Thank you. We're happy to have you here. I guess this is probably, thinking of it that way, this is probably the only way I'll ever become a mayor is through PatFacts, because I don't think I'm going to ever run for office. So this is how I'll be a mayor of something, I guess, is through PatFacts. So thank you, Bonnie. I think you just made me the mayor of PatFacts community. I'm going to take it until someone runs against me, and we have to have a call an election. But yeah, this is our community. So we're all like-minded individuals who are looking to get better, to ascend to the end. We're all about that positivity pandemic that we're all building towards. We're trying to grow and spread around as well. And we're all about being operationally fit to fight the daily battles that life hands us. So we have all those things in common. So again, we can meet here, we can gather. Some of us like to talk about food and our cheesecake and our snacks and what we're having. So we have those commonalities as well. And again, I've really been fortunate to have so many communities come together into this community. I have my Twitch community, I have my Facebook community, I have my real world community, people I've worked with and have taught and instructed in the past who stay with us and have joined this community. People who I've only known virtually, who I've met during the pandemic, who joined this community as well. So again, I'm so fortunate to have everyone come into this community and be here to help the community get better. You've heard me say, don't just make the team better. It's a quote from one of my mentors, Peter Twist. And that's so true. Don't just be in the community, make the community better. And that's how I want to kind of start with tonight, I guess, is making the community better. Unfortunately, I've noticed a lot lately of people maybe not going with that, not really following through with that quite so much. The pandemic is I won't say over, but we're getting maybe a little closer to the end, or at least to a less intense version of things right now. Who knows what's going to come down the road as people have alluded to, that maybe there's some waves coming. Thanks, Bonnie. Bonnie has her endorsed me to be mayor of PatFacts. Thank you. I appreciate that. So who knows maybe what could happen down the road, but right now things seem to be opening up and getting a little bit back to normal. And unfortunately, some people are going back all the way back to how things were normal before. Hey, Kate Hepburn, welcome. Fourth wave is coming. Yeah, that's the word on the street, is that it's going to end up here. So we're just trying to do what we can for now to work through some of this. So what I've noticed is, again, some people kind of taking that step back to the way things were before, or just acting like everything's already fine. And it's not yet. There's still lots going on. There's still lots to do. There's still lots to be aware of. So we want to make sure that we're being aware of what we're doing. I see people at the store I work at who just reach over my head to get things. I was crouched down working on a bottom shelf, and someone just reached over me to grab something off the shelf without even saying, "Oh, I'm just going to reach overhead. Do you mind?" Or "I'm just going to grab that thing." Or if they said, I would have moved out of the way, or at least knowing. For one, safety. If I had not known and stood up quickly, I would have probably headbutted them. And just to give people their space. Not everyone is comfortable. They didn't know me or what my thoughts and feelings were on personal space, pandemic or not. Hey, Nat. Hey, Kat. Everyone tuning in. Thanks for being here. So again, we need to be aware of being in a community and being the good role models that we should be, the good citizens in our communities. Again, whether it's an online community like Twitch and Facebook, PatFacts, or if it's an actual community that we live in, that we interact with people in. If we're in grocery stores, if we're talking with people, if we're interacting with cashiers and tellers or clerks or anything like that. Again, it's a community. We want the community to flourish and to grow and to be supportive of each other. So what my suggestion to you is, and I know we can do this because we're in this community together, is to take the strength and the willingness to get better and to grow that we have in this PatFacts community, and let's take it outside to our own communities. And again, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir, seeing who's in the chat here tonight. But I know just remind us to be that example, to hopefully inspire and motivate and role model for some people. Here's what we should be doing. Here's a good way to behave when you're out in public. Because I see a lot of people, again, just getting back to that me mentality of I need this and I need to get that. You're in my way. I'm important. I've got to get my stuff done. Rush, 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 go, go, go. I saw someone the other day get upset and because he had to line up for a till. You've had to line up for a till since March of 2020. It's not new. And he got frustrated and walked to the till that he wasn't supposed to go to, put his stuff down and left the store. And again, even if he's out of town, because again, people are allowed to travel and stuff now, I'm pretty sure most towns in Ontario have some sort of lineup system at a grocery store because it's been limited capacity. So it's not new. So keep those things in mind. Yes, things are open. We can go do great things. We can maybe get back to seeing some people again, but we need to be patient with other people. We need to be patient with the businesses who are trying to open. I'm fortunate to work at a big grocery store. So we were open throughout the pandemic. We had restrictions, but we stayed open because we were an essential service. But some of these smaller boutique stores or privately owned stores or fitness studios or hair salons, barber shops, restaurants, those places, they're trying to open and learn how to manage this pandemic, these restrictions, these limitations. Maybe there's reservations now, but there's only so many tables they can fill and serve and all that sort of thing. I've heard a lot in Barrie, in the hospitality, in the restaurant sector, can't staff people because all their staff left because they couldn't work for 16 months or more. So they've either moved on to new jobs or we're getting funding and help. So then they've said, you know what, I'm going to go back to school or I'm going to do something else. So now they're reopened after being closed for the better part of 16 months. They're trying to get people back in, but they have to work through restrictions and limitations and guidelines, and they have to maybe train new staff and get them up to date. So make sure that, again, you're giving yourself the patience to deal with some of these restrictions and guidelines and newness that's there. It's not March 2020 where things were just, let's just go to the bar and have a drink and sit on the patio because they'll serve 40 of us. It's different now. It's a new area. It's a new way of life. Who knows how close we'll get to the way things used to be. Some places may just say, you know what, I can manage better with this many people and these many tables and have space and there's more room for people to stretch out a little bit. But we need to be patient as we open up because people are learning what we need to get through and how we need to adapt to these new regulations, which, as we've known in the last 16 months, could change quite a bit. Things could go back. There could be a fourth wave, as people say. There could be other restrictions come up. Other places, again, they maybe are short on staff and have to restrict what they're doing, or the weather. Outdoor dining was there. Rain's coming. They have to shut down the patios maybe if there's storms or anything like that. So they have to, and that further restricts the numbers of people. If you have a patio full of people and people are inside dining and storms, you've got to get those people on the patio somewhere safe. So then what do? You've got to turn away people at the door from coming in maybe. So again, give yourself that time. Be patient with yourself, big time, but be patient with others as well. There's still no such thing. I watched a PatFacts from last year, or maybe it was a PatFacts, and I mentioned how there's no such thing as a quick trip to the store. It might have been Three Wise Men I said it, and it's still true. There's not really a pop into the store, grab something, pop out. Maybe a drugstore or a convenience store quickly, but even those places, you never know. Maybe you hit it right and there's a bit of a crowd. Maybe there's one till open. There could be a bit of a delay. So again, give yourself that little bit of time. Try to manage that into what it is you're doing. Maybe group your trips together so you can make kind of a loop of things and make it a morning or a day of what you have to do. But again, allocate time. There's no sense going into a store, having a cart full of food and groceries and things, and get to a till and go, I can't wait in this line, and leave a till sitting there. It's very wasteful and very inconvenient for other people in the store and the staff there as well. So, and again, every sector as well. Again, every store for sure. You need to have that patience and have those plans in place that you've got going on. And that's hello, boop. It's hard to see that. I didn't see that first, but boop, back at you. Hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, for sure. Andrea says it drives me nuts when people acting like nothing has happened. For sure. Everyone's just gone back to the way it were. And again, if you've been with us, we've seen this every time things have reopened. Back in May of last year, we went through our first reopening. We noticed that as well. Everyone went back to the way things were, the way it used to be. And no one really had to remember that we just went through a pandemic. To me, that's why we went through it 2 or 3 more times with those stay-at-home orders, lockdowns, whatever you want to call them, those restrictions that have been put in place. And yes, hospitality industry is definitely feeling the effects of it. We want to make sure that everyone is looking after themselves and helping. We want to support local for sure. We want to help those local businesses that have been in trouble, that haven't been able to be open and have people in them. But again, we have to be patient and compassionate about what we're doing. As Bonnie says, compassion is the key. We need to be compassionate for ourselves, so we're keeping true to ourselves, so that we're being the ambassadors in our community, to kind of bring this back to our community point, that we want the community to be. So that's my challenge to you, is to, again, however you want your communities to be that person in your community. So smile, show patience, give yourself that time to do the things you need to do, and know it's not going to be like the way it used to be. Have those steps in place to be able to do that, so that you can support locals, so that you can breathe that kind of life into your community, so people will see it and role model from you. As we've talked before, how we're all role models, whether you want to be or not. You're going to be a role model to somebody. Someone's going to see you out and think, whoa, geez, that Jennifer, she's always calm. She's always so happy. That lady's always so smiley when I see her. Whenever she's in here, she's always smiling and happy. And sometimes they may tap you and say, hey, I noticed you're always happy and smiling. What's your secret? Why? What are you doing? Well, I give myself time. I know things are busy. It could be worse. A few months ago, we couldn't get here. So I'm just trying to be appreciative of what I have, what's going on. I'm trying to show compassion to the people around me, the people who are doing some of the work, so that I can get my coffee and donut in the morning, or that I can come out for dinner with some friends who are taking the time to go through this. So it just leads by example. And that's what I want us to do in our community, is be that good example, so that those of us in this community who are strong-minded people, who want to get better, who want to continue to grow and develop and not go back to the way things were back in March 2020, but go to the way things are now, July 21st, 2021 and onward, as we're getting better every day by growing, by evolving, by taking part in communities like this. And then our in-person communities can become better as well. But we need to be the light. So we need to be the shining example of what we can do. You hear that with kids. They say to be an example. It's not do as I say, not as I do. I need to do as I do. So be that example in your communities. Hold the door open for people. Wait in line. Be courteous. Be patient. Smile. Take out your earbuds, apparently. Earbuds. Take out your earbuds. And or take one out at least, so they know. I do that at the till if I'm listening to my podcast. You hear me say at the grocery store, I listen to my podcast. When I get to the till, I pause it and I take out at least one of my earphones. I'm going to go back and reuse words I can say, so they know they have my attention for those few moments while we're interacting, that I'm not just listening to someone else or talking on the phone. If I'm on the phone, I say, just a minute, I'm at the cash. And I put the phone away, or again, I take out an earbud, so they get that. They know they have my attention for those few minutes. Little things like that are positives that come into our community, that help the community grow and help community get better. So that's my challenge to you, is to let's not let what I think is the majority right now control how your community is going to be post-pandemic. Let's us as, unfortunately, and again, maybe it's different where you are. What I see right now, unfortunately, it seems like the minority. Let's let the minority be strong and really show people how we can have a true, vibrant, growing community where we can have less social issues come up. We can all get together and get along. We can be safe and not worry about pandemics and viruses and things. We need to start that. We need to be the light that shines in your community to make sure your community becomes the community that you want to live in. We have to put some work in. Again, we've talked about that before. That's how we get better. We put in work. You want to get more fit? It takes work. You want to learn something new? It takes work. You want to eat better? It takes some work. You want your communities to be better? It takes work. And hopefully within your circle of 5 or your circle of friends and community members, like we've talked about before, hopefully those people in your community will be able to join you as well in that. And you can help the community grow. Because if my community gets to get better, your community gets better, your community gets better, your community gets better, and all of our communities are getting better, that's going to make a big, entire, wonderful community. And that's what we want, but it comes from all of us. So again, that's my challenge to you if you're just tuning in, is for all of us to make our communities better by being that light, being that example, getting involved where you can, be the positivity pandemic that we've got back here. Spread that positivity and make a 4th wave of the positivity pandemic. Let's start it now. Smile, be happy, be courteous, be polite, be patient. Let's spread the positivity pandemic. Let's get that 4th wave going before we have another wave of the COVID pandemic. And then that's going to help with these other causes go away as well. So again, that's my challenge to you with that, is to be the light in your communities. Just to stop back here. Hey, Robin, thanks for tuning in and for throwing me like you usually do. Terry Fox, Winnipeg, good evening. Thanks for hopping in. Natty says, ditch Amazon, shop local. It's okay, Andrea, some connectivity issues. So hopefully everyone else is sticking in. Shirley, good evening. Shirley Ann, thanks for being here. I loved all your TikToks and videos as well. Thanks for being here. Bonnie says, we have one go around, make it pleasant and with love. So true. We're here once. We're here for, like Trooper says, we're here for a good time, not a long time. So have a good time, because the sun can't shine every day, but you can shine your light every day and make the most of your communities and be that positive light and that example. Sorry, Terry Fox, Edmonton. I never get those acronyms. YEG is Edmonton, thank you. I think Halifax is YHZ where I'm from, but Toronto messes me up too. So I apologize, Terry Fox, Edmonton. Thank you for being here. We're going to be talking about the Terry Fox run very soon. I take part in the Barrie Terry Fox run every year with my team. So we'll be talking about that coming up very soon, because we're going to get the band back together and get our team going. So thank you, Edmonton, Terry Fox, Edmonton, for being here. If it helps, I'm an Oilers fan, so I do like Edmonton, if that helps at all, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. So what I'd like to do now, guys, is just, sorry, my mic's going to die, so I'm going to change my batteries. I haven't registered yet, actually. They've reached out to me. I've got to get registered, so I'm going to go through again and get things registered. Guys, I'm just going to do a quick battery switch here. Guys, hopefully you can still hear me. If not, just give me a shout. I haven't registered yet, but yeah, registering very soon. They've been calling me to get the team in again. This will be our fourth or fifth year putting a pat on your back personal fitness team in, and I've had the privilege of emceeing the Terry Fox run at CFB Borden for a couple of years. I used to work out there, so I love the Terry Fox run. That's one of kind of my charity of choice right now to work through. So and Natty says, hello Facebook friends, and again, different communities. Natty's on Twitch. Sometimes she's on Instagram. We've got Bonnie and Andrea, Shirley on Facebook. We've got Robin and Terry Fox Edmonton on Instagram. So we've got, again, all our different communities, but are bringing together as one. And that's what we want, to grow these strong communities that can then again influence our individual communities when we're not spending time together. And it's so great that everyone's here. Again, we've got Edmonton, we've got Barrie, we've got Montreal, we've got Toronto area tuning in, GTA, again, just in one platform. So we can always be here together in this one community to, again, help grow and evolve our communities. When do you think you'll talk about Terry Fox? Followers. I'll message you, actually, guys. When I'm going to talk with the Terry Fox Run, I'll message you for sure. And Chad last year actually had one of the organizers from the Barrie Terry Fox Run on, Michael. He came on, so I'm probably going to have him on again and talk about it. And I'll talk about the team and what's going on. So when I have that, probably soon, because once I get registered, I want people to join the team. So I'll actually send you a DM, guys, if that's okay. And we'll definitely appreciate the share, and then we can maybe connect on something as well if you want to do some chatting about it within your area as well. We can figure something out. So we'll definitely touch base on that. So again, community, Terry Fox Run. I do the Barrie edition. Now we've got Terry Fox Edmonton, and I learned today that YEG stands for Edmonton. I'm going to learn those little airport travel acronyms so I can figure out who I'm talking to. But I learned something new. I made a new friend and grew my community. So all in, what are we at here? 20 minutes, 25 minutes. See, power of what you're doing. You never know what's going to happen. So thanks, Bonnie, for that. Appreciate it. The last thing I want to touch on is the good that I've seen in the community. Other than, again, the Terry Fox Run and all your examples of what you're doing so well. And I know I see you guys doing great things in your community, whether it's sharing online posts, whether it's being out in the community, your communities, whether it's talking to friends and loved ones on social media. I see all your posts and your content. And again, I know that's why you're here, because we're like-minded people who want to get better ourselves and make those around us better as well. So for those that don't know, a week ago yesterday, an area of Barrie was hit with a tornado, an F2 tornado, confirmed touchdown in the south end of Barrie. 70 homes originally were deemed uninhabitable. They've cut that down. At least 10 or 15 people are back into of those 70 last I heard, and I'm sure that's improving. But the town was hit. It was very quick happening. It was about 2:30 in the afternoon. We had severe storms roll through. We had our alerts go off on our phone, and pretty much shortly after that, it hit. Fortunately, with all the people in the area and everything going on, there was about 11 or so injuries. People had to be looked after. That was it. No fatalities, thankfully. It could have been a whole lot worse. So fortunately, everyone was okay and looked after. And from that tragedy, horrific event, people have lost homes, been displaced, lost personal items. The community of Barrie has really surrounded them with love and help, and it's really come together and rallied together to be a supportive community. And it's been so heartwarming to see that from this tragic event that displaced and has affected so many people and will affect them for years, that the community has surrounded them and with so much love and support. It hasn't even been a week since it happened, and all the areas are open as far as streets, debris cleaned up. The organizers had to tell people, please don't bring any donations. We can't manage them all. We have too many. Within the night of it happening, they said, please don't bring anything right now. We can't handle it. We'll let you know what to do next, because there was such an outpouring of donations and support to come from community individuals and community businesses who wanted to give back to the community that supports them, and outside communities. People in Huntsville, north of here, people in other cities and towns and provinces have helped us. When the event hit, we have city police here in Barrie, but the provincial police sent in help. York region sent in help right away. They sent in units. Fire departments covered for each other and shifted across from other communities and neighborhoods. The amount of support and love and just niceness, the community that has come out of this is really incredible and really heartwarming to see. So not that it wasn't there before, but as usual, it does sometimes, I guess, it's more spotlighted when there is a tragic event like this, because there's news and media around there to show it and to talk about it. But it's just been so amazing to see the group and the city, again, circle each other and take such great care of each other, because Barrie is kind of a big city. I know it's not maybe as big as Edmonton, I know that acronym, or Toronto for sure. There's different sizes, but it's kind of divided by the lake, and there's sort of a north and a south end of Barrie, and even within the south end, there's kind of different regions, it seems now, with all the new developments growing, popping up and growing. So to see all of Barrie really get behind each other and help each other and support each other, it's been so heartwarming to see. So kudos, Barrie, on being that great example. Just thinking back to last year too, back home in Nova Scotia, when the mass shooting happened in a very, very small community. It wasn't even in a city. It was in a very, very teeny tiny community where I believe it was 13 people or so lost their lives. I apologize if I get that number wrong. Over a 13-hour span, it was a kind of a bit of a spree. And again, the community wrapped its arms around each other and supported each other so well. And it just reminds me of that. So it's really incredible to see people rally together. I guess my sort of challenge opening is to find kind of that middle ground where maybe there's not such a jump between our communities being so kind and helpful and heartwarming when there's an event that's happened and taken place versus everyday life. Now, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's just because I don't see it. And again, maybe because the media doesn't showcase it because it's not horrific, tragic things that they think will get viewers. But it seems like the level of kindness, and because people need it too, it makes sense, I guess. But the level of kindness amps up when there's a tragic event. My goal for my community is to maybe, if the gap is like this between everyday life and here's a catastrophic event, this is kindness at those moments. My goal is to have this maybe come up here a little bit. So maybe there's not quite such a gap. We're being so kind and so courteous and so positive and really growing our community with each other that we already had those steps in place. And yes, things ramp up when there's a horrible event that we have to deal with, but maybe it's not such a gap in between. And maybe people are even better looked after before these things happen. So again, hopefully we can better handle it. And again, everyone responded so amazingly and stayed so safe. Everyone were in basements or in safe, or mostly safe areas. There was a story came out just yesterday. 3 men were in a trailer at a construction site, and the trailer got thrown, and they were flipping around in the trailer, and one man had to help his 2 colleagues back to kind of the work office when things opened up. Again, fortunately, some broken bones, minor injuries. Everyone's healthy and alive, thankfully. But you hear of these stories, and you probably saw the video if you were watching things where a gentleman was at a new school build, and he's like, yeah, the power just went out. We're going to bet that storm. And he opened the door, and the tornado was out in the field, kind of in front of him. And he's like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. And just that impressive feat of what it was, just there like that, and then gone. They said when things were gone, the sun was out, it was clear, it was almost eerie and calm. And again, it's really brought everyone together. So I want to make sure, mention here, because I said I'd come back to it. Where is this? So Andrea mentioned she worked at the tornado relief trailer. So they set up a trailer outside one of the schools. The school is kind of their command center that's in that area. And there's a trailer there where they have a phone center for people that have questions, people that are affected by it and need help, insurance, what to do with their debris and garbage, things like that. So Andrea did some shifts there on the weekend helping. So great stuff, Andrea. Thanks for helping out with that. And again, it's been a great response, a great resource for everyone. I get to actually go out on Monday. They organized a kind of a clean up the area event. The lady that organized it typically does Spring Into Clean. It's an event we have here in Barrie. I'm sure Andrea is familiar with it. Typically, either you go to the waterfront in Barrie or you pick an area in your neighborhood and someone organizes a Spring Into Clean. You get together, the city gives you kind of a kit of gloves and bags and things, and you go around and clean up the neighborhood, beautify the neighborhood after the winter months of things kind of floating around and being stuck under the snow. So the lady that organizes it kind of in that area, she set up this event. And if you saw my Instagram live, I'm trying to get it to Facebook too, but it's on my IGTV. I videoed kind of the opening and kind of explanation of what was going to go on. And you saw all the people there. Speaking with her after and hearing her talk, I'm not sure it's on the video or not, they expected 30 to 60 people that maybe be a group of community members and some parents and maybe a couple hockey teams or something, because they offer community service to students, because they need that here as part of their volunteer hours as they go through school. There were about 300 people that showed up. 300, and they expected 30 to 60. So they ran out of bags. They ran out of some supplies. So we all kind of shared stuff. We went, the group I was with, we went to, if you've seen it, one of the houses lost its roof, its second floor blew right off. We went in behind that place and were able to help clean up some of the debris. And again, just looking through, and the way we got into that area, we went behind another house to kind of get around. A lady let us go through her yard to get to where we needed to go. And there were tons of trees that were, I don't know, 50, 100 years old, blowing over. And thinking if the wind had been the other way, this giant tree would have landed on her house. But it didn't. It fell the other way and landed in an open area and didn't do any damage. So again, things could have been a lot worse than they were. So everyone's very fortunate and very lucky, and so amazing to see everyone come together. And again, those 300 people. And then as we were there in our group of maybe 15 or 20, a company came with some of their group. They came as a workforce together. They did stuff. We got a lot of debris out of the way of that section and into a pile, so they could be more easily reached and taken away to the landfills to get things cleared up. And one other kind of note of that as well, just the I don't even know how to say it, but the kind of the awe of what the tornado can do, but what the tornado doesn't do at the same time. And there was a little girl there. I think she was about 11. Speaking of community, actually, it was her birthday that day. That's how she spent part of her birthday, was being there helping clean up the community and helping tornado victims clean up and move on. That's how the little girl spent her birthday. So kudos to her. But I heard her say to her mom at one point, "Look, Mom, like that house has no second floor, no roof, but the garden's still there. The shed's still there. It was barely touched." And it's so just weird. It's the only word I can say to see the destruction that was caused. And just a few houses or blocks away, it's very minimal, and then to really nothing very quickly. So it's so strange. You looking at some of this destruction, you expect it to go on for miles and miles, and it did, but kind of within a contained area. It's just very strange to explain. So it was very eye-opening experience to go through there. I'm glad I was able to go in and help out, and be able to give something to back and help. Again, we both kind of said that we did a lot, but it didn't feel like we really did enough, because we were kind of in one spot, and we thought we could have done more to help people. But again, 300 people going around, a lot of difference was made, and the contractors were there and the inspectors were there doing things. And when we finished, they were opening up the last section where it was hardest hit, as far as road access and things too. So, but again, just another example of the community really coming together, people from all over. And I was able to talk to some of the politicians that were there, because they helped organize it and help get the word out, really. That's how I heard about it. And they said the outpouring from other communities and other towns and cities and even provinces, how can we help out? Even some countries, how can we help out? What do we need? And they said, we're good right now, but can stay on the line, because who knows in a few weeks or months as things kind of develop what we may need for help. So again, as Natty has here, great job, Barry. Community, big time. It's really come together and shown. And if you look at community, the end of it is unity. It's a common unity. We're coming together to support each other, and that's what has really been shown here in the aftermath of the tornado. And you usually hear when something happens in some of these cities, kind of that city like Barrie strong or Toronto strong or something, when these things happen. And it's really true that the strength is in numbers. The strength is in community, that strong unity of individuals coming together with common interests in mind. We were all there to help those people, to be there to get better, to try to get some way to get a little bit of their life back in place. Again, probably never going to be normal, but at least trying to find a new normal and a new way of life and getting back to how they want to be. Yeah, she was amazing. She was right in there, right in the mud, trying to pick up debris and find things and help tear apart pieces of lumber and roofing and things that were around. She was right in there. She was doing really great things. So, and again, good to see that the community's in good hands, because that's the future coming up. So she's obviously got good examples in her community, in her life, her family and her coaches and teachers and whoever's around her obviously are doing a great job. So it's been really great to see. Thanks, Bonnie and Natty, for that. I appreciate it. Again, just wanted to, as soon as I saw it, I kind of wanted to help out and support any way we could. Was able to do that. And even while we were there, a couple of businesses, again, donated lunch for the volunteers. Enbridge, who was there looking after gas, had a tent set up for supplies for volunteers and any community members that needed water or snacks, things like that. Again, the store I work at has donated items and supported. Everyone has. And again, they had to turn donations away. Andrew says, while manning the phones, we had restaurants from other cities inquire about fundraising for the victims of the tornado. Amazing. Yes, so amazing. And speaking of that, actually, I noticed last night, again, speaking of other communities, the Barrie Bay Cats, so baseball, under 19 played, I believe it was in Sophil. And they posted that after the game, the Sophil team presented them with a card, and it was the Barrie kind of Bay Cats logo with a heart around it. All the kids signed it, all the team members signed it, and they presented them with a receipt for a donation of $515 to the Salvation Army because they're looking after some of the relief here. As a way to support, they fundraised that money over a weekend and had it donated and had that presented to the team when they played them the other day. So again, more communities bonding together and growing and supporting each other and building our community, and then this community's helping out, and that grows that big, strong community around us. So within Simcoe County, all these communities are coming together as well. She seemed okay. Andrew says, how did she seem? Was she understanding of what happened? I think so. I think she was old enough to get it. Maybe not. Maybe it was just hard to see, but she didn't seem really, I guess, impacted by it, like taken back by it or anything, but just her observation of like, wow, look at that house, it has nothing on top of it anymore, but look, the garden, like how does that, is very inquisitive and very observational, I thought, for her to say that. And again, to be there on her birthday, it didn't seem like a mom made me come on my birthday to do this because I should do it. It seemed like she genuinely wanted to be there and help out. So it seemed like she had an understanding of it, maybe not in depth as what maybe we did, but she did seem to grasp it okay. And again, her observations seemed pretty high, and her attitude and spirit was very positive as well. So yeah. Actually, sorry, no, Andrea, this was another girl that was there. Yeah, sorry, her internet's wonky. So no, we didn't take her with us. There was another girl there on Monday. My daughter was at camp, so she didn't go with us, and we thought maybe it would be too much for her at her age. But there was another girl there with us that was, I believe, 11, and she was helping out. So that's who was there and helping. I didn't know her; she was just there with her mom and dad. We all got in the same group. So again, she seemed to really appreciate it and make the good observations of what was going on, but was going to be making sure that she kind of it was helping out, and it seemed to be kind of her not maybe idea, but she was into it. She wasn't being kind of dragged there by her family just because she should be there or something. So that was great to see. So yeah, and Andy says, wow, definitely kind of a neat environment. Have a great week. Stay strong. I love you all. Thanks, Bonnie, for being here. And Bonnie mentioned before, I saw her this. We said, be kind. She says, I have no problem with that. We talk about being kind. Kindness is effortless to me. And that's awesome. That's how we want it to be for everyone. Just an effortless, it should just be a way of life. It should be common sense. But as our pal Brendan Burchard sometimes says, common sense isn't always common practice. So again, we just need to maybe make it a point of it. And what I like to do, because maybe I'm a bit of a jerk, is when I feel like people maybe aren't being as kind as they could be, or maybe kind of a little grumpy for maybe not quite, if I don't feel there's a reason they should be, I lay it on even thicker. I really lay on the kindness and the hellos and the smiles and the positivity. I lay it on them thick and almost force them into that good mood. When I worked at the base, you'd have early morning shifts. There was a few of us that would do that because people would come in at 6 and good morning, how are you? And just lay it on thick. And for a lot of them, it would kind of bring them out of it, and they kind of almost shake their head and go, oh yeah, I don't need to be so grumpy. Like, I'm awake, I'm here, I'm moving, I can work out. So yeah, just really put it on. No kindness. Again, you're here. So I know you're great people that are getting better and being kind or so positive. Again, that's why you're here. But let's really put it out there. Let's really lay it on. And let's really spread that positivity pandemic around us. That's what it takes. We've got to spread it and get people be contagious and get that positivity pandemic spreading from me to you to those in your neighborhood, so that again it has that ripple effect and spreads around. So nice is empathy is the key for sure. We need that. We need to understand how people feel, and we need to be able to give that good energy back to them to help them through what it is they need help with. As well, but understanding what it is they need to do, what it is they need from us for helping, what it is they need. Maybe they just need someone to listen. Maybe they need some guidance, some advice. Maybe they need a mob of people to come help them clean up and get things back in order. Again, seeing people, some of the houses in the areas and trees that are down. There was a house just on the kind of outskirts of Barrie. The tornado kind of traveled toward the Innisfil area, and it had a row of trees along its driveway, and there was trees down everywhere. Like, all the trees along the driveway were pretty much down, and there was an arborist there cutting things down and making room for things. There's a lot of destruction, but again, everyone needs something different and different help in different times. So we need to be able to be aware of that and be empathetic to those around us and be willing to help. And again, to create the communities that we want to live in, we need to give that energy out into our communities. Take from the communities you're in that create that with you, things like this, and then again, give it out to those that need it. Fill your cup up here, and then share the energy with those around. Killing people with kindness. Maybe that should be on my shirt or something. I don't know. Thanks everyone for being here. That's it for tonight. Again, community is so important, and I love the community we have here. You guys are all so supportive of me and of each other. I love the way the communities can interact with each other, even when we're on different platforms. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great week, everyone. Again, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, at 4 Wise Ones on Facebook. You can check out the 3 Not So Wise Men and a Much Wiser Lady. We're going to talk about space. It's the anniversary of the moon landing. We're going to talk about that and how some people are going to space now. We have Virgin Air running their program, Bezos as well on his side. We're going to kind of talk about that a bit as well. So we'd love to hear from you guys. I'll post it on my Facebook accounts as well. You can send me a DM if you're not on Facebook. I can send you the information to find it. But we'd love to have you there and tune in with us and join in the conversation, much like this. We'd love to have interaction and comments for us to talk with and share perspectives of. Remember, stay safe, everybody. Take care. Make sure that you're being good to yourselves. Make sure you're being good to each other. And remember, always make yourself the priority you deserve to be by striving to be operationally fit. Have a great night, everybody.